Dr. William E. Schatten was a talented man who lived an exemplary life. To his wife Barbara, he was a wonderful partner. Theirs was a close marriage. He was a man who was always available for her, a man whom she calls absolutely irreplaceable. To their 5 children, he was someone they could count on, a father who made his children's interests his interest. Bill Schatten was a father who was there for his children. To the Atlanta Jewish community, he was a leader, a man who lent his intelligence, leadership, and compassion to what he believed in. His beliefs were broad-based. He believed in Havath Akim Synagogue, the Atlanta Jewish Federation, and the Epstein School, to name a few. Anyone who knew Bill Schatten was aware of how much he gave to the Jewish community. To his patients, Dr. Schatten was a dedicated physician, a skilled plastic surgeon, a doctor who listened and cared. He was a physician who received many honors, beginning with his training when he was chief of head and neck surgery at the National Institutes of Health. During his plastic surgery fellowship, he won an international award for scientific work. Anyone who knew him was aware of his commitments and his priorities: family first, medicine next, and then the Atlanta Jewish and general community. Generous and philanthropic, Dr. Schatten spent his life giving. Life wasn't always easy for Billy Schatten. His father died when he was 10 years old, and he and his mother moved from Nashville to Atlanta to live with his mother's parents. Billy's grandparents were religious Jews. Their influence was great on their grandson. He learned Jewish values and to value Judaism from them. Growing up without a father was a challenge for Billy. But young Billy Schatten was not one to complain. He was the type of person who made the best of things. He often asked how he could make things better. When his mother remarried and relocated, Billy remained in Atlanta to finish school. Billy was brilliant and always enjoyed learning. He graduated from high school at 14. He earned his bachelor's degree from Emory University when he was only 17. And he was one of the youngest students ever to earn a medical degree, becoming a doctor when he was 21 years old. In addition to his impressive academic accomplishments, Billy Schatten was a concert pianist. The Atlanta Constitution dubbed him the musical medico and wrote of his solo classical performances at the Fox Theater and concerto appearances with the Atlanta Pops and Atlanta Symphony Orchestra. People would wait in line for hours to get tickets. His concerts were always sold out. The Atlanta Constitution was one of many newspapers that carried stories about him, stories that documented his success as a physician and a community leader. The Southern Israelite, later the Atlanta Jewish Times, frequently wrote of his accomplishments within the Jewish community. He was a leader in Havath Akim Synagogue for over 3 decades and served as its president. He was campaign chairman and president of the Atlanta Jewish Federation. For years, he served as general chairman of Israel Bonds. His last 2 major community undertakings were chairmanship of the successful Epstein School Capital Campaign and the fundraising for the beginning of a Havath Akim's Akfa program for dependent senior citizens. Not only was he generous in giving of his time and leadership, but also he generously supported each of these organizations. Bill had a strong feeling for Judaism, one of his friends remembered. He was a man who gave his support to all Jews. Bill Schatten was a family man. Barbara, his wife of 46 years, said he always put his family first. She speaks of him in positive, loving words. He was caring and thoughtful, unique and smart. Billy was brilliant, yet never acted in a condescending manner to anyone. He's remembered as a man who never embarrassed anyone and rarely expressed anger. He was a man who knew how to get along with everyone, she says. It is difficult to follow in his footsteps, noted one of his sons. Bill Schatten was the father of 5 children, 3 sons, Sam, Greg, and Kenny, and 2 daughters, Karen and Rona. The values of their father are reflected in the lives of each of them. The arts were also important to Bill Schatten. The Schatten Gallery at Emory University was established by him and his wife Barbara. Bill Schatten liked to honor others. He established a scholarship fund at Emory for Judaic studies in honor of his wife Barbara's 55th birthday. He and Barbara established a chair in international law and human rights at Emory in memory of Barbara's father, I.T. Cohen. And Dr. William E. Schatten is a man whom others like to honor. He was honored by almost every major Atlanta Jewish organization. Earlier this year, Emory University honored his memory by establishing the Dr. William E. Schatten Professorship of Contemporary Middle Eastern Study and Israeli Studies. Dr. Schatten was also honored when he was chosen to receive the prestigious Avon Award, which is given to an outstanding physician who has also contributed to the betterment of the Atlanta community. Bill Schatten loved learning Torah. After going through the Havath Hakim chairs for 12 years, the last 2 as president, he could be found in his seat in the sanctuary of his beloved Havath Hakim each Shabbat and holiday. His insightful, erudite speeches are legendary. No matter what the occasion, a bar or bat mitzvah book presentation at Havath Hakim Synagogue, a Jewish community dinner speech as the dinner chairman, or an acceptance speech for one of his many Jewish community awards, each speech always contained a word of Torah. And each acceptance speech for any award he won always ended with words of love and appreciation to his beloved wife, Barbara. As one of the original members of Rabbi Yossi New's Tuesday Lunch and Learn class, Bill reveled in gaining new meaning and understanding of the weekly Torah portions and in challenging Rabbi New and the others in the class with thought-provoking questions. He valued immensely his relationship with Rabbi New. This is what Bill Schatten was, an outstanding physician who has contributed to the Atlanta Jewish and general community. He gave much to his family, and he gave of himself to the Atlanta Jewish community. Dr. Schatten gave much to his patients, and he gave to Atlanta. Bill Schatten was a giver, a man to honor, and a man to remember. We remember him. We are grateful that he was with us for 70 years, a loving husband, a devoted father, an outstanding physician, a leader in our community.